Eli and his friends had always been drawn to adventure, so when they stumbled upon an old secluded cabin deep in the woods, it seemed like the perfect place for a weekend getaway. The two-story log cabin, weathered and dark, had an overgrown path leading up to it. Despite its eerie appearance, they shrugged it off as part of the charm. After a long drive, they settled in, lighting a fire and cracking open drinks. The air was thick with the scent of pine, and the only sound was the crackling fire. It felt like the perfect escape, but as night fell, an unsettling silence settled over the cabin. No animals, no wind, just their voices and the fire. Later that evening, Eli noticed something strange, a small faded photograph on the wall tucked behind a dusty frame. It showed a family, but the faces were scratched out as if someone had gone to great lengths to erase them. Eli felt uneasy, but said nothing. As the night wore on, they heard it, soft, dragging footsteps on the floor above them. The cabin seemed empty, yet the sounds continued, slow and deliberate. Eli's heart raced. "Did you hear that?" he whispered. His friends nodded, uneasy. Tom grabbed a flashlight and cautiously made his way upstairs. The others followed, hesitant but curious. They stood in a dark hallway, the flashlight casting long, eerie shadows. At the end of the hall, a door creaked open by itself. It was the only door that hadn't been opened all evening. Tom, despite his fear, pushed the door open. Inside, there was nothing but an old, dusty bed. But on the bed, something caught his eye, a large, blackened stain on the mattress, as if something had been spilled and never cleaned. Suddenly, the door slammed shut behind them, and the temperature dropped. The flashlight flickered. Eli's breath caught as he saw something moving beneath the bed. A figure, pale, gaunt, and covered in dirt, crawled out from the shadows, its hollow eyes locked on them. "Get out!" it hissed, its voice rasping like dry leaves. Panic set in. They ran scrambling down the stairs, but the house was no longer the same. The walls seemed to shift, and every doorway led to another dark, narrow hall. The air grew thick, suffocating. No matter how fast they ran, they couldn't escape. Finally, Eli broke through a door that led outside, but when he looked around, the cabin had disappeared. He was standing in the middle of a dense forest, the trees surrounding him like twisted, gnarled hands. The others were nowhere to be seen. The whispers came next, soft at first, but then louder, swirling around him, calling his name. "Come back," they whispered. "You're ours now." And just like that, the cabin reappeared behind him, its door wide open as if inviting him in. He turned and ran again, but this time the woods didn't end. The trees seemed endless, the whispers growing louder until they filled his head, and the darkness swallowed him whole. The cabin had claimed him, just as it had claimed those before him, and it would never let him go.